I thought nobody's going to like me if I'm sober. And how am I even going to function normally? Like, I mean, it's the greatest gift ever. Oh, this is what alcohol does to you. Like, being an alcoholic, I was such a liar and manipulator. It's like I could come up with a lie on the spot, which is so scary. I'm dying! I was like, I can't breathe, I can't breathe.
Today's guest is Lauren Dutkiewicz. Lauren gives us a powerful story about how you can slip into substance abuse, addictions without even knowing it. So for anybody who's ever felt lost, or if you're dealing with a loved one who is struggling with something like this, you definitely want to tune into this episode because she really gives us all the answers. I have Lauren with me today. We were college buddies, reconnected, and we're really going to dig into this whole story of recovery where I'm going to ask her all the things that probably nobody's asked you yet.
Yeah. This is actually an untold story, so I haven't told anybody. I mean, people know about
Bits and pieces, I'm sure.
Bits and pieces, because people are too embarrassed to ask. They don't.
Right, or they're like, I don't want to make her feel bad, so I just won't ask it, or
yeah,
like, that's
exactly.
uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable questions.
Right. But I mean, they don't need to be.
They don't. They definitely don't. And like talking about it, anybody that I've talked to about recovery, they are just, it's almost like they're wishing somebody would have said that to them.
Yeah, I have that on here. Like, what's the best thing? We'll get there in a minute.
Okay, awesome.
But I feel like it's easier because we already know each other.
I know.
And we're sitting in basically pajamas. So
we're sitting in pajamas. The dog's
the
right
dog.
here.
Yes.
Yeah, here's Thor.
If you want to just start with, this is the story and I'm ready to tell it, then take it away.
Okay. So my name's Lauren. I am an alcoholic, and I also had an eating disorder that I struggled with for probably about 8 years. I would say my story kind of begins with not really knowing how to cope with emotions, I would say, and like really hard situations.
Do you think that started for both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was based off of control. So
yes. Okay. I totally want to not to interrupt. I had an eating disorder for years also. And mine, I feel like the only time I ever feel like triggered is control.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
And I've been like recovered for years, years and years. But like, I feel like they kind of go together. Like, I think eating disorder is an addiction that people don't give credit as an addiction.
Yes.
And that's why I think when you're saying, okay, I had to do with control, I'm like, they probably go hand in hand.
Yes. Okay. And so that's why I'm excited to dive deeper into it, is because I exchanged my eating disorder for
Drinking?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I gave up my eating disorder for drinking.
So then when you gave up the
drinking was a problem.
Did you go back? So when you stopped drinking, then did you fall into more eating disorder stuff?
Only when I felt out of control and not knowing what I was doing with my life.
Yeah.
That was like, because drinking at that point was regular. That was just something that was like a part of my everyday. Mm-hmm. And so that wasn't my source of controlling anything anymore. That was just a full-blown addiction. A way that I could control situations is I would binge eat and then I would throw up.
Yeah.
Trigger warning.
Yeah, trigger warning. I mean, I relate.
Yeah. But
I just got so exhausted of it. It was such a process.
Well, it's like a full-time job.
Because you have to plan where am I going? Okay, am I going to eat before I get there? Am I eating there? If I am, where am I going after that? Because I got to get this out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then it became a control thing for me to just eat as much food as I possibly could.
In that time, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I would throw it up.
But it ruins your whole schedule too. Because you're like, okay, I can't really throw up there because like someone's going to notice.
Well, and it got really hard too because like I would throw up, and then like once I actually started to get back into like get recovered and go through recovery for that, my stomach and my brain weren't telling each other, like they weren't communicating when I was actually hungry. So I had lost like all of my hunger cues. So like I was never hungry. I was trying to control myself from not eating like crazy and not binging.
I feel like I was starving always.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, your body was probably just like fresh out of nutrients.
Yeah. But I feel like I was always like, I'm down to rage on an entire pizza.
Yeah. There's like some sort of sick satisfaction that comes along with it.
Yes. You know? There's like totally, like a feeling of like accomplishment.
Yes. Yeah.
I always looked at it as an addiction because it's like it consumed your every thought. Just like just the planning of it. Like not even necessarily like, oh, I must measure my thigh or whatever. Like I didn't ever do that.
Yeah.
But like just the planning and coordinating of my day and working around that, which I'm sure is probably like a lot of people have issues with like getting a fix. Okay, well, where am I going to get a fix here if like I'm with a group of people?
Exactly. A lot of people deal with specific things where they just don't know how to like let go of control. And I mean, honestly, I don't think anybody can really recover from anything unless they like go through a recovery program and have a plan for it.
Yeah, I never actually thought I would be able to make my brain not think that way anymore.
Yeah.
That was my biggest thing. I'm like, okay, I can not do the actual actions.
Yeah.
But my brain will never not think this way. That's what I thought. It doesn't anymore. Actually, I don't know how I am as good as I am.
Did you go to inpatient treatment or
No,
outpatient?
I did outpatient, but I also think that I have such a regular routine now that as long as I stay in that, like I just don't think about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's been like 15 years.
But
like,
does
it's been
it
a long
scare
time.
you that you might eventually go back to it as like a crutch?
No, because I think I've been run over enough times in life since then to be like, I can do something.
Yeah.
Like I am tougher than being like, I need a crutch. I think I have been faced with so much harder shit since then.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I don't think that's going to really service me.
Like if you didn't
like
go back to it at that point, then you're probably not going to go back to it, period.
Right.
Hopefully.
I mean, there's definitely times where I think, like it pops in my mind. I don't even want to say feed me the same way because I'm not feeding it.
No pun intended.
It's not going to feed me the same way that it did because I am not at all the same person. My whole life is completely different.
Yeah.
So it's not going to give me that satisfaction that it did.
Yeah, and you've probably learned coping mechanisms, and like even if you don't like call it a coping mechanism, you know, you probably learned ways to like, you know,
deal with life.
There's so much to unpack.
There is. So should I just start with the questions and the story will just slowly unfold? Yeah. What did life look like when it was at its worst? Like when either situation was the worst, or maybe they were at the same time. What did it look like when it was the worst? Like were you waking up and drinking?
When it was at the absolute worst, I was drinking at night. I was fumbling my way through a job during the day.
Wait, did you drink during the day?
Drink during the day.
Like during work?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When did you start drinking? Like the second you woke up?
Yeah. So I had a lot of worsts.
Okay.
So I'll tell you what my day looked like, but just know that this happened at multiple different stages.
Okay.
Yeah. Like this could have been 7 days a week that this would happen. So I would wake up, and if I didn't have alcohol right away, then my whole body would go into like convulsions.
Like shaking?
Yeah. And I would start to get really nauseous, and sometimes I would throw up.
It's like a hangover. Sort of.
It was like a hangover, but it was like your body's going into shock, kind of.
Okay.
And so I would need to drink alcohol in order to like get the shakes to stop. Yeah.
What did you drink?
So I went through phases.
Like, were you putting Bailey's in coffee, or were you just like, dude, give me a shot?
Girl, it was worse. Yeah.
You're like, I'm actually gonna bong a Busch Light right now.
I mean, there were times when I was desperate. Like I would literally do anything. But I would have to drink in order for the shakes to stop, or I would think I would have to drink. And I'd never wanted to. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't want to do it, but I knew that, like...
You didn't want to drink?
No, I did not want to drink, but I knew that, like, I had gotten in such a bad cycle. At the beginning, I didn't think I was an alcoholic, but I would drink in the mornings. I wouldn't want to. I would have shots of Fireball.
Like, in the morning?
Oh, God. Didn't matter what time it was. Yeah. So I would start with shots of Fireball or the beatbox wine. You know, like the...
Oh, the big one?
The little ones are like this big.
Oh, they're small.
Like 13% alcohol or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I would drink
Not
those.
the Franzia.
No!
From college?
So I would drink Burnett's. Yeah. Yeah, so I would drink beatbox, and I would also drink Fireball shots. So
in the morning?
I would get like a wine drunk, or I would get like a Fireball drunk. Yeah.
Did you just like coast all day, or were you just like shit faced literally all day long?
I would just coast all day.
Yeah.
Like I never got like too drunk.
That it like ruined your job?
That it like ruined my work. Like I was totally functioning, which is the scary part. So I was totally functioning, and then it would get to be about like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and at that point, think of how much alcohol I've had throughout the day.
Right.
Like, in order for me to like keep stable, like I probably had like 3 bottles of those beatbox wine.
3 bottles?
3 little things. Yes. Oh my
Like a
God. I
lot.
could drink like a fish. And so, yeah, I would have those. I would have, I stopped at Plum Market at like 7:30 in the morning, and I would always buy a 10-pack of Fireball for the day. And that
For the
would get me
day?
through the whole day. Yeah.
The whole day you took 10 shots?
10 shots of Fireball. Yep. I know. And then, so I would buy it in the morning, and this is what alcohol does to you. Like, being an alcoholic, I was such a liar and manipulator. It's like I could come up with a lie on the spot, which is so scary.
Like, who was asking you these questions you had to lie to?
So the cashier, she's
like,
like, "You're not drinking these at work, are you?" And I was like, "You."
You told her, you?
No, you want to know what I told her? I made up this crazy lie that I was a party planner. This just came to me at 7:30 in the morning. That I was a party planner, and
She's like, why don't you just buy like 70 at once? Like, you're coming in every morning.
I know, yeah. And it was like the thought behind that, because I'm like, why don't I just stock up? Because if I stocked up, then it would be harder for me to hide them.
So were you married at the time?
When I first became really bad, I was about 29, 30.
Okay.
I was living in Grand Rapids at the time.
Why did you get married?
We got married in 2021 of 2020.
So were you doing the
2020, February 2020.
Were you doing the 10-pack Fireballs
Yep.
then? Was he like, this seems like a lot of Fireball, or did he just not know?
So I would hide it.
He's like, you smell like a cinnamon bun.
I know. No, he seriously would. He's like, you smell like Fireball. Like, why don't you like choose a different liquor that doesn't smell so blatantly
Like Fireball.
Yes, exactly. And I was like, well, because that's the only one I can stomach. And so, yeah, so when I got married, Skylar did not know I was an alcoholic.
He just thought you liked to drink?
At this point, he like hadn't found alcohol yet.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, I mean, I lied to him.
Well, I mean, it's just like having an eating disorder. It's like you're throwing up when no one's home, or you're
Yes,
doing it around
yes.
them so like they don't know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you were really, yeah, I mean, were these work going on at the same time? Or you said they were kind of alternating?
No, they were alternating.
So-
sometimes I'd say.
Because I'm like, how the hell are you drinking 10 shots of Fireball and wine and not eating?
Well, so here's the thing.
I mean, it probably made it way easier to throw up, honestly.
Well, here's the thing. I wouldn't eat because I didn't want to throw up any of the alcohol
booze?
that I drank. Yeah.
So you wanted to keep it in?
Mm-hmm. So I wasn't really eating food at the time when I was like an alcoholic, when I was
Like when
full-blown
you were the
alcoholic.
worst.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you just come home and keep drinking?
Come home and keep drinking. I would, worked from home for a lot of my jobs.
I think that's more common than people think, is like when you're working at home,
Yeah.
I think that's the easiest job for an alcoholic. Like, you
Oh,
don't even
yeah.
realize how many people are working from home that are just drinking on the clock constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are probably a ton. I've seen a lot of TikToks about that. But
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, it was easy for me to drink. Skylar was gone during the day, or, we got married right before COVID, so that's when it like started to get really bad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody was an alcoholic in
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah. Well, I started getting caught, and started openly lying and manipulating and doing it worse and worse and worse. At this point, like now I was getting called out for my drinking, because one thing that Skylar is he was never an enabler.
Mm-hmm.
And so he never enabled my drinking. He would like be so disappointed in me. He wouldn't
Do you think that
interact
helped?
with me. I do think it helps.
Because I feel like some people just
Yeah.
push those people away, but I'm sure it's also depending
I
on
tried
who the
pushing him
person
away.
is and like
Yeah.
where they're at on their timeline
Yeah.
of like when they're ready to recover.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I tried pushing him away because I didn't like being called out for the shit that I was doing.
Right.
Like, I didn't want anybody to interrupt my routine.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody messed up my routine, then I would get pissed. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like the eating disorder too. Like I would plan my whole day around it. Like, okay, if I'm going to be out of the house for, 4 hours, like where can I hide like 3 shots?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it got to the point where, I was always drinking. I would go out with Skylar to dinner and, we would go through like ebbs and flows of like, okay, Lauren, you can drink, like you can have.
So you tried to do like a soft stop?
A glass of wine.
You tried to do like a soft stop?
Yeah.
But then did you feel like, how did that work though? Were you like, I hate this? Did it just make you keep lying, or were you just like,
yeah, because
I feel like I'm getting babysat?
I hated it. Yeah. I felt like I was getting babysat, and I also never wanted to go out because I could get more drunk at home by myself. Like I could drink more secretly than just having 1 glass of wine. What's 1 glass of wine going to do for me when I go out? Like I have 10 shots of Fireball a day and then like this and that. So it would almost more so just annoy me to like go out and essentially like spend time. Like
you just wanted to hunker down at home.
Yes, yeah.
Rip shots all day.
And so I was like deeply depressed. And
well, because that like totally turns your whole world upside down. Like not only like are you not drinking, so your body is like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. And your mind is what the hell?
Yeah.
But then you're also like isolating and like changing your entire routine and your schedule because like things aren't fun and they're not the same as they were before. So now like everything that you're doing is different.
Yeah. Yeah. And so one thing that I learned in rehab too is like your dopamine level when you like get drunk, like my average dopamine level, I think I'm saying this right, was like, this is the normal person. Mine was up here.
When you were drunk.
Like this was my average. Yeah. And so when I like wasn't drinking, like I would dip down to here and I could never quite get back up to that high. So like I would almost be like depressed in here because I'm used to being up here.
Right.
So yeah.
That makes a lot of sense though, because I think a lot of people are just like, why are you addicted?
Yeah.
It's like when you feel that good.
Yes, yeah. And for me, I didn't even feel good. Like I said, like I hated it. Like I didn't want to do it anymore. But like I literally did not know how to stop.
And like how to live without it.
Yeah. I honestly, I did not want to die. I never once wanted to die. Mm-hmm. But I thought alcohol was going to be the thing to kill me.
Yeah.
Which is,
especially when you're like, how much worse can this get? I'm already
that
like going so extreme. Because you're like, what am I going to be like if I continue on this path next year? And the year after that, and the year after that. It's how is your brain working still?
I don't know.
I mean, not now, but I'm saying when you were drunk and you're like working all the time, you're like, how am I just like typing an email to my coworker when you're like cross-eyed?
I know. Well, I would never let it get that bad during the day. I would drink, like coast through the day, and then at like 4 or 5 o'clock, then I would be super drunk. Skylar would come home from work, and I would be passed out for the rest of the night.
What?
Yeah, I'd be passed out. I would wake up in the morning and I'd be like, did I have dinner last night? And because he didn't enable me, he wasn't like coming in to get me and being like, hey, Lauren, wake up, time for dinner.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, you made your bed, lie in it. Like, I mean, he got me to rehab 5 times.
Was he like, you're going, or he convinced you to go, or he forced you to go?
The first 3 times I felt forced. Of course I wanted to get sober, but I didn't have like,
but you didn't really want to get sober. Or you did?
I mean, I did, but I was afraid of what my routine like would be like.
You had one foot in, but not both.
Yeah, not both. Yep. So the first 3 times I went to rehab, I had 1 foot in.
Mm-hmm. Was there a time that like broke you to go 2 feet in? Like, did you like? I feel like some people are like, okay, yeah, like I got in an accident, or like something happened that made me be like, this is it. What made you finally be like, it's time to put 2 feet in?
Yes, there was a time. I mean, I'll say like I hit rock bottom, but like that wasn't my rock bottom. Like my rock bottom, I lived a rock bottom for like a solid 4 years. But I had gone to rehab for the 4th time, and I was sober for about 61 days. And I don't remember what made me drink, but I started drinking again, and then
Like, were you like, oh, I'm just gonna have one, I think I can do it, and then you just
No.
went hardcore?
Nope. That my mindset was like, I want to forget something that's happening right now, and I don't know how to deal with it. I'm uncomfortable. I don't like it. Like, kind of like get me out of my own skin. And so then I was just like, the race is on.
Yeah,
Like,
so it wasn't like I'm just gonna dabble.
yeah, no. And so I started back exactly where I left off, which is like the worst thing that you can do. And so I started drinking Fireball again, and I started drinking, maybe I'll just have just a little bit less of what I used to have so that like I'm not that
I'm more
obvious.
controlled, yeah.
Yeah. And I was sober for 61 days, and then I started drinking, and that drinking only lasted like 2 weeks until I was back in rehab for a 5th time.
And that was the time that lasted.
That was the time that lasted.
So what made it different?
So when I started drinking again, it like all escalated so quickly. Like I would have just a little bit of alcohol, but I would feel so
Wasted?
Yeah. And so I would like keep drinking and like keep trying to like get back to, well, I only had like 3 sips of this. So I usually used to have like 6. And then I would go around and I would like work and I would do whatever. And then I would come back, I would take like 6 sips. And it was like always like a counted number. And so I wanted to get back to that counted number. So I was drinking way more, but I forgot that my body was, I was sober.
Mm-hmm.
And
your tolerance was all jacked.
Yeah.
It's crazy that 61 days can like reset you that far.
I know. But yeah, I started drinking for about 2 weeks. I called my friend Casey, who I met in rehab, and I called her one night, and this was a night that, Skylar and I weren't really talking because obviously I was drinking and he was not happy. And so I called her that night, and I don't remember this, but I called her and I said, I think I'm dying. And so she lives in Wyandotte, and I lived in Lansing at the time. She randomly knocks on the front door at like 9 o'clock in the morning the next day. And she woke up, got straight in the car, drove over to me in Lansing, and she had never met Skylar before. She knocked on the door and she said, "Hi, I'm Casey." And Skylar like broke down and like gave her a hug.
Yeah.
He knows who she is. Like we've been like sober sisters since she has been sober since we went to rehab that one time. I have such confidence that she's in it for the long haul.
So she was like, get in the car, you're going back?
And so she said to Skylar, she came in, I saw her, and I was pissed because she was interrupting my routine. And I wasn't going to be able to drink. And so I was like, what are you doing here? But I was so out of it because that morning I had woke up and told myself, I'm done. I'm not drinking anymore. And so I tried to like just get through a couple hours of like the shakes, the nausea, the sweating, the cold sweats,
I'm sure the mental too.
Oh my
God. Like the anxiety of like hell.
Yeah. She was like, we need to get you to the hospital. And I was like, yeah, I agree. And then when I went to the hospital, I got out of the car, I walked in, but I couldn't walk because I hadn't had any alcohol. And so like my body was so weak and shaking so bad that like he had to put me in a wheelchair, and then he wheeled me in, and I started having a full-blown panic attack. And I think it's because like deep down I knew like this was it. Like
it's
you
so
are
scary.
Never drinking ever again. Yeah. And so my mind like freaked the out.
Right.
And so I had a panic attack, and I was telling the people that were checking me in, whoever they are, and I was like, I'm dying. I was like, I can't breathe. And they're like, no, you're having a panic attack. And I'm like, no, you're not listening. Like, I'm actually dying here. And I was like, I need oxygen. They're like, okay, then breathe.
Right.
Like, yeah.
So then you went to the rehab. Was it inpatient?
Yeah. So
Okay.
then I detoxed in the hospital. I had an awful detox, nothing like I ever had before. I hallucinated. All of a sudden, I look over to my right, and the nurse is standing over there, and she is Elizabeth Banks from the Hunger Games. Like
with the outfit?
Yes. And I was like, what is she doing here? And I point over there, and the lady's like, yeah. So then I think they sedated me, and I was there for 4 days. detoxing, and then I had to go home for a day before they had a bed for me, so I went to Maple Grove.
Where's that at?
It's part of Henry Ford, so it's in West Bloomfield.
And you stayed there?
For
For
Stayed
how
there
long?
for 2 weeks. Yeah,
Did you like their program?
loved it.
Great program over there at,
Great program. There you go.
over at Henry Ford.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, the therapists were great. I've met some of my best friends there.
But this time you were broke down enough to just do it.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I'm sick of this cycle. I'm tired.
I'm sick of it. I'm done. And so, like, I wish it's like so much easier, like easier said than done, but like, I wish I would have thought, like, just bucked up and done it.
The first
Like,
time?
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, that wasn't your time.
It was.
For as hard as it is and as shitty as it is to say that,
Yeah.
like, there's a reason why it took you 5 times.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? It's because I wasn't ready. There was something in me that like was like, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. Mm-hmm. And so like when you go through recovery, you have to choose to go through it for yourself.
And on your
for
time.
Nobody else.
Which makes no sense because everybody's is different. And now it's been a year. Or how long has it been?
Tomorrow it will be 14 months.
Yay.
Yay.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
What a change. Do you feel great now?
I do feel great. I feel a little weak still.
Yeah.
Like I haven't gained all my weight back, so I'm still like 101 pounds.
Yeah.
But like I'm happy with where I'm at because my doctor's happy with where my weight is.
And you're like tall.
5'7". Yeah. So I was literally skin and bones. Yeah. It was bad. So it was like the hard thing about recovery too is like I was recovering from being an alcoholic. I was recovering from an eating disorder that I had never dealt with. Mm-hmm. And I was also trying to do this all while being married, trying to work on my marriage, but like new Lauren,
Totally
like
new
the
person.
First 4 years were not easy. And I remember telling my therapist in rehab, I said, okay, now that I'm sober, I said, I'm worried. What if I don't love him when I'm sober?
Or what if he doesn't like
What
you?
if he doesn't love me when like I'm sober? And so like that was like an anxious time. I'm so lucky that Skylar was so patient. And I remember one time I had just gotten out of rehab and I said something like, you know, I want to do this for you. And he was like, no. He's like, you're our number one priority. And he's like, that's just how it has to be. And I'm good with that. And he's like, you have to be good with that. And I was like, I'm not good with that. But
Yeah.
clearly, I'm like the most selfish person ever. Clearly, I'm fine with it. I'm kidding. But yeah. So,
That's a lot. I mean, that's such a huge change.
yeah.
And on every level.
Yeah.
And just adjustment for you, for him, for your relationship, for I'm sure everything you do.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And my family too. Like the
Yeah, did they not know?
Oh my God, yeah, they knew. They knew. And they had tried to get me help so many times.
And they have those like awkward conversations that you don't want to hear.
Yeah. Oh my.
What's like one thing, like if somebody has someone in their family that's an alcoholic or has substance abuse issues, what's like the one thing that they would say to you that drove you insane? Like that it just didn't help and they were trying to help, but you were just like, that's not helping.
When I was sober or not sober?
Not sober.
That would like make me want to drink more or something?
Yeah, but like they thought that they were saying something that's like,
Oh.
oh, well, just say this to her. And then that like just trigger the shit out of you.
That I needed to go to inpatient rehab.
They were like, you should go to inpatient rehab.
Yeah.
And you would just fly the rails.
I would freak out because I'm like, no, that means there's a problem with me and I don't have a problem.
When did they first start saying stuff to you? Like, what was the first thing they said? Were they like, you seem to be drinking a lot? Or were you like, how did it come up?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so when I lived in Grand Rapids, I was like at my absolute lowest. So I had lost all my jobs. My parents
From drinking? Like, did you lose jobs from drinking?
Oh yeah. Something that pissed me off is when they would say, "Just move home. Just move home."
So we can control you.
Yeah,
You're like, that
just
sounds
move
horrible.
home. And so I was living in Grand Rapids at the time, and I was like, no, I'm not moving home. Like, my friends are here. Like, my CrossFit gym's here. Like, this and that. Like, and I was like, no, I'm not
How
going.
were you CrossFitting drunk?
That's a great question.
You can do CrossFit.
If I was
That's
doing-
insane.
I could do CrossFit. Yeah, oh, my God. One time I did a toes to bar. You know what that is?
I'm assuming when you put your toes to the bar.
Yeah, where you're, like, swinging and you put your toes to the bar. I was drunk
Were you so dizzy?
and I let go.
Did you hit your head?
Yeah. Oh, I like so messed up my back. Yeah. Like there could have been so many instances where I could have been like my body could have been broken. Like I could have been pulled over. Like I had no run-ins with the law. Like I get so lucky.
Yeah.
It's so dangerous. It's so dangerous.
I cannot believe you were CrossFitting like hammered.
Yeah, I know. Then so my parents knew how bad it was because I was losing jobs. Like I was like running up my credit card. Like I was asking my parents for money. They're like, what's going on? And then like I just went through like a really bad phase of like a breakup and then like break-ins into my car and someone stole my work laptop and it was just like all stupid stuff. And so I like could not have gotten out of there fast enough.
Which is like
so
messy drama every day.
Yeah.
Oh, you did. So you ended up moving home.
I moved home and I would hide alcohol at my
Wait, so
parents' house.
you moved into their house, or you moved home like to the town they lived in?
I moved into their house, into my old childhood bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would hide the alcohol at my parents' house, and then my parents would find it, and that's how they knew like how bad it was.
Oh.
And obviously they had some sort of inkling when I was out in Grand Rapids, and I just like wasn't talking to anybody, and
Yeah.
I wasn't going to family events or like birthday parties or like I was so isolated, and that's what it does to you. It isolates you. Like I was just so sad, and
Yeah, do you feel like your mental health was bad, or you just don't even know what the hell was going on because you were just drunk?
I know my mental health was bad. So
Was it like self-esteem things, or were you just like depressed, anxiety? I'm sure you had anxiety, which is why you probably drank.
Yeah, so it's so weird because that's kind of like linked to the eating disorder. Like I had very low confidence, very low self-esteem.
Which I feel like is so weird looking at you, because I feel like you're so loud and like you're so
I
yourself
know.
and you're so fun.
I know.
That it like doesn't come across as like, oh, she has no confidence.
I know. And that's like,
But I think I had that too, because I was also very loud and bubbly and all
Yeah,
the things.
yeah.
But then there's like certain things that I feel like you're not confident in, and then everybody doesn't understand why you're not, because you're like this huge personality.
yep. I did have a huge personality, but I almost felt like I was like I could only be on during certain times.
Yeah.
Because like deep down I was so depressed. And I wasn't always like that. But once a big life event happened to me, like I didn't know how to handle it. And I wasn't prepared. I didn't have the
Like,
tools.
what do you mean is a big life
So,
event? Like what would be
a really bad breakup?
Oh yeah.
So a really bad breakup like threw me into a spiral. I would turn to alcohol, or at that point I started throwing up again. It was just low self-esteem, low confidence. I didn't think I was good enough. I've dug myself in holes so deep that I'm not a good daughter. I'm not a good sister. I'm definitely not a good friend. Like,
Right,
I'm
not-
a horrible dog mom, because I would just drive Thor through McDonald's in the morning and I would get him sausage McMuffins instead of feeding him dog food.
He was probably happy though.
Yeah, he was probably happy.
I mean, I could go for a McMuffin right now.
I could too.
I love a sausage McMuffin.
I know.
I mean, he's very round and jolly.
I know. It never lost that sausage McMuffin weight that long ago.
He is a sausage
He
McMuffin now.
is. He is. All of those reasons that I just mentioned
We're too hard to
were
deal with.
for my eating disorder as well.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think mine was a lot of like not feeling good enough. That was always my one thing.
Yeah, but why? Like, what didn't you feel good enough about?
I feel like anything when stuff would happen.
Like
that's
you almost
because
like
I'm not-
didn't want to try it.
Yeah, I
because
didn't even
you-
want to try something because I was just like, oh, I'm not good enough for that. Like I just won't do it.
Yeah, yeah. I would
Yeah.
feel the exact.
Or
same
if
way.
like something happened, yeah, like I wouldn't be good enough.
Yeah.
And like a lot of times too, like looking back at it, it's like those weren't even my problems that I absorbed that were someone else's. Do you know what I mean? And then I
Yes.
blamed myself for that, and I made myself feel that like I wasn't good enough because it was my fault, when
Yep.
really somebody else had their own shitstorm going on that like somehow I took the blame for.
Yeah. Yes. So that's like exactly how. And at that point, it was like anything that was thrown at me like would just cause anxiety.
Right.
And like I had this new unhealthy way of coping with things, whether it was throwing out my food or whether it was drinking alcohol. Like I did whatever I could to like never feel present in the moment, you know?
Right, and have to deal with it.
Yeah.
I think it's weird too because we absorb all these insecurities from other people who are also up.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I feel like every time someone will be like,
Yeah.
oh, well, you did this, it's like I just assumed that they were right.
Yes.
But I feel like it took me so long to be like, why does this person doesn't know shit about anything? Why the hell am I thinking that whatever they said is actually true?
Isn't that crazy when you get your confidence back and you're just like, I don't care. I will be so mean to a grandma right now if I have to. Like, I'll literally just tell you how it is.
But it's crazy because they don't know either. A lot of times they don't know either. So it's like, why are we taking their opinions or like
so true. That's
into ourselves. Like we're making those like, okay, well, tattoo that on me because I guess that's how I am. Especially if it's someone's opinion, even if it's not their opinion and they're like stating it as if it's a fact. They're probably a freaking disaster.
Oh my God,
why
that's
the
so
hell
true.
am I listening to like what you think I should do when you're a freaking train wreck too?
Oh, that is so true. If I don't agree with somebody now, I'm just like,
I just don't agree.
Yeah, exactly. And like sticking up for yourself. Like
I also think the people who push their shit on you the most are the most messed up.
Yeah,
like,
because
like,
they don't want to that's their coping mechanism of dealing
they're like,
with
well,
it.
let me just make you also agree with this because then it's gonna fill my hole. Fill my hole? That sounds weird. I don't know what it's gonna fill. Okay, fill their whatever it is. But like fill your hole in your heart. But like they're a lot of times they're only doing that for their own self-satisfaction. It's not even your own issue.
Yeah.
But then we take it and we're like, I am the worst. Oh my gosh, I made this person feel bad, or like I shouldn't do that because like I'm wrong.
Yes. Okay, so that's a really good point. So when did you like get your confidence back?
I had to get run over by life really hard. And then I was just like, everybody that told me what to do and tried to control the situation for me because they made me feel like I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Just made it so much worse.
Yeah.
So
and
I'm
you're
like,
fully capable of doing
everybody
it on your
here
own.
is dumb.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm the one that had to freaking white knuckle the shit out of life to survive.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, nah, I'm actually way stronger than everybody and I know way more about everything because I just got my ass handed to me on every level.
Yes. And like, aren't you, even though you went through absolute hell and back, like, aren't you like, think of how much different of a person you are now and how much stronger and how much like more in control, even like when you're not trying to control anything, you are in control now. You know?
Oh, for sure. And that whole situation has helped me just not care about other people's judgments and other people's opinions because I'm like, that doesn't even hurt me from what all the shit I already went through. Like I don't even feel that.
Yes. That is so, I got like kind of calloused to that too.
Yeah, like you're just like numb to it because you're just like, that doesn't bother me because I've been hurt so many more horrific ways that like that doesn't bother me.
Or
Plus,
you've hurt yourself so many horrific ways too.
Right, but it's like, and I also think I see it from a different side because when I was going through that, it's like if I ever knew someone that was going through the stuff that I was going through, I would never like try to control them the way that people try to control me.
Isn't that crazy? You're like, who do you think you are? And
but I also am like, you're bored.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're bored.
You're bored. You have nothing better to do, so you're gonna project.
And you're afraid
your
of you're pushing your fears onto me, and I'm like making them my fears.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I'm not eating those.
Yeah, yeah. And
I got my own shit to worry about.
Yes.
I feel like I haven't asked a single question.
Oh my God, I know.
This happens every time, actually.
Okay, throw it at me.
Do you think society or culture has like promoted alcoholism or body issues?
Woof. Yes and yes.
I think so too.
Body issues, I think that's a real problem. I'm really worried about how.
I feel like we were kind of going in a good direction. Like curves were getting in, like we were being very like body positive.
Yeah.
But then they were like, oh, here's Ozempic. Not everybody, but like you just threw them an addiction.
Exactly. That's what it's going to become. That's such a good point.
And I'm not like judging anybody that did Ozempic. If you did Ozempic, you feel good, cool, whatever. Do what you got to do to feel good about yourself. But I'm also like me looking at it from being on the other side of that. I'm oh, I just
that's
feel like
not
you
something
just
that you want to dip your toe in.
Yeah, like you're just threw an addiction at somebody.
Yeah.
And like there's been times too where Anthony's like, I feel like you should do like a body, like a, not a bodybuilding, what's it called? Like a fitness show.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, you have crazy genetics because like you don't try that hard.
Yes.
But like, he's like, I just want you to do it just to like see what you can do. And I'm like,
your body could probably get so chiseled.
Yeah, but I also was like, I know what that's going to do to me.
Yes.
I was like, I do kind of want to see also, but I like the thought of it. I feel like that's a cool hobby, which I don't have time for a hobby, but also like, that'd be cool. I want to try, but I'm also like, I know that that's.
Your mind's not there, like able to.
I just know that that's a slippery slope for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back to that and then have to crawl out of it again.
Oh my God. It is so hard to crawl out. And that's why I don't run marathons anymore. Like I barely run anymore because
I'm like, it's triggery.
I would get obsessed with it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it would become unhealthy. I get obsessive about it. I think it's because my body, like, I can see results quickly. And so I'm like, I want to keep that. And then once I see it, I'm like, oh, I can look better than that. Like there's no...
It's like an eating disorder.
There's no middle ground.
Yeah.
It's like 0 to 100. And that's how it was with alcohol, too. It's 0 to 100.
So did he know you threw up all the time?
Yeah. Yep. And... I wouldn't tell him when I did, but then he could obviously like see it in my body. And then this was years ago. Then I started to tell him.
One time I got sick and I like actually was puking. And Anthony was like, "You're so quiet. Like I'm scared."
Quiet puker?
Yeah, like I was like puking because I was actually sick.
Yeah,
and he was like, "You're so quiet at puking. Like I'm genuinely like afraid that like I would never know if you were."
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I'm not because I'm honestly just too lazy. To fall back into that. It's a big time commitment.
Exactly.
But he was like, that's like scary. I could never hear you in there.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, you get good at it, right?
You get really good at it. And that's the scary manipulative part about like addiction. I forget who said it, but it's like, oh, Bam from that one show, MTV show.
The Jackass show?
Yeah. Bam, I think is his name. He's an alcoholic. But he said like, it's not you. It's business. Not that I don't want to spend time with you. It's just business that I have to go and throw up my food. Or it's just business that I have to go and buy, 10 pack of Fireball. Like, I want to spend time with you, but business comes first.
It is actually a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
So it makes sense because like people who are living with alcoholics or people who have addiction, they probably feel so like, why am I not a priority?
Yes. See, that was one thing about sobriety is you don't realize, or about addiction is you don't realize how much it affects everybody around you. Yeah. That's sad for the spouse,
Right.
So,
especially for like super long-term ones. Like you, it sounds like you got a grip on it. You have so much life left.
Yeah,
but a lot of people, they're like on their 40th year of being like this.
Yeah. I know. It's scary, like, what it can do to your health. I think of how many times I was in the hospital while I was an alcoholic for, like, random things that would come up. What are they called? Physicals. Went and got my annual physical, and my doctor called me, and she's like, just so you know, she's like, I think I need you to come in and retest your triglycerides tomorrow because this number must be off. Like, this can't possibly be true. And she was like, your triglycerides.
What, did they do blood work?
Yeah.
But weren't you drunk?
Yeah, I was always drunk. Yeah.
So you're like, here's my blood work, I'm drunk.
Here's my
like
blood work.
Like your BAC for your blood work was like...
I don't think they check that in your physical, but they should.
They probably do.
Do they?
Why wouldn't they? Everybody's freaking drunk or on something.
I don't know. Doctors, weigh in the comments.
Yeah, seriously. I feel like they would just because substance abuse is so prominent now.
Yeah, I mean, they should.
Wait, so they checked it and it was like astronomical?
Oh my God. She was like, yeah, yours are 6,000. And I was like, okay. And she's like, yeah, they're supposed to be under 200. And I was like, I was like, well, I feel fine. And then the next day I went in and I got them rechecked. And she called and she was like, you need to go to the hospital. Yeah, I went into the hospital and they immediately like started giving me like magnesium and like this and that. And then they started poking my finger because they thought I was pre-diabetic. I was in there and I was in there for like 5-6 days.
Did they get it under control or were they just like, hey, you're a raging alcoholic, you should stop?
Said they wouldn't send me home unless my triglycerides were normal. And so finally they got to like 500 and I'm like, please get me out of here. And they're like, okay, fine, you can go.
And then you drank and immediately.
And then I went home and drank. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, just like stuff like that, like it affects your health so much. And then sometimes for some, then it's too late. I'm really lucky. Well, it's crazy because I literally feel like I'm like 28 years old. Mm-hmm. How old do you feel?
Like 14.
Oh my God.
No, I'm kidding. I don't know, like 22? Maybe 25.
I just had my 21st
Depends on the
birthday.
day. Depends on the day.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like 36?
I'm 37.
Do you feel 37?
No.
No. know.
Like, what are we? How do we even act our age?
Oh my
What is
God, I
that?
have no idea. I mean, it's crazy. Because I'm like, well, I still don't have kids, which I think alcohol played a huge factor in that,
Do you
as
think?
well as my eating disorder.
Yeah, I'm sure both.
Yeah.
Those are two things that I think would really affect it.
So that's definitely affected us being able to get pregnant.
What's something that you never thought you would enjoy doing sober, but you actually really like?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say, honestly, just spending time with like friends and family and
Like being present.
that is it, being present. Because I thought nobody's going to like me if I'm sober. And how am I even going to function normally? Like, I mean, it's the greatest gift ever. Like,
It's just being
actually
present.
Being present and remembering things and like, yeah, making memories.
Do people like avoid drinking around you because they think like, oh, well, she doesn't drink, so I don't want to drink? Or like you go to order something at a restaurant, and they're like, oh, I'll just have water too. Because they don't want to like.
God.
Do you like that or no?
No, I hate that. So I don't know. It's probably different for every person, but I don't like I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. Like,
It almost makes you uncomfortable.
it makes me totally uncomfortable because it makes me feel like I'm wrecking your time. You know, like I'm wrecking your good time.
Yeah.
Like because you're stuck here with me, you can't have fun.
Right.
Or you can't do what you want to do. And so when people ask me, I won't drink either around you then. And I'm like, no, absolutely. Go ahead. Like,
So that doesn't
drink.
bother you at all?
Oh, that doesn't bother me.
Can you
That's
drink
what
a
we used to
non-alcoholic
do.
beer?
I do, yeah. Yeah.
Have a nice NA.
Yeah, I do. And
But you don't feel like left out because you're sober? Or
I
are there
don't.
times that you do?
I've done work events and, you know, people ask me like, what can I get you to drink? I'm just like, no, I don't drink. Or if I know them and I feel comfortable, like if I'm not going to embarrass them by me saying this, I'll be like, I'm an alcoholic. And
I feel like you're a good person to say that because you're not awkward, but like
I
some
know,
people say it
I'm
and then
just
you're
like-
like, oh.
Well, the thing is, I'll say it, and people like don't know whether or not I'm joking or serious, and I'm like, no, I really am an alcoholic.
I'll have a water.
Yeah, exactly. Like, please do not serve me. But yeah, no, I don't feel out of place, or like I don't feel like out of place or like I'm missing out. I think it's also because like I have become so comfortable with telling myself like, okay, this is who I am. I am an alcoholic, and that means like I've trained my brain to not be jealous of something that you're doing.
Like almost like you have diabetes. You're like, I can't eat that. It's like an allergy.
Yes, yeah. And
I think that's actually a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Because just like, oh, I can't have eggs or whatever because
Yeah.
you're allergic to it.
yeah. And so you just like, you don't even fantasize about eating eggs.
Yeah.
You know? So I think I've gotten used to it, but that's not to say like it really is one day at a time because like we could go out to dinner tomorrow and you could be having a martini and I'd be like, oh damn, I really want a martini.
That looks really good.
Yeah.
What do you think is a misunderstanding about recovery?
I would say that it's one size fits all. You know, some people, everybody's recovery journey is different. Some people need a strict routine of like going to AA every day, or they have to like have some alone time, or it's easy for this person, it's not easy for this person, you know? It's really, everybody's story is different and everybody's way of healing is different. And like people, it would be helpful. People were empathetic towards that. And don't necessarily look at,
Like, hey, you have to do this.
yeah.
You're never drinking again, day one.
Or
Like, let them do it their own way.
Yeah. Or like, oh, well, you don't go to AA, so you must not be,
Serious.
yeah, you're not serious about recovering. So like,
And there's no wrong
you
way.
You can't judge. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You can't judge. You know, anybody who's taking that step towards recovery is taking a huge leap of faith. And
What is something people say or do that makes me feel supported?
yeah. I would say just feeling heard and not feeling judged. And it's helpful talking to other people who are going through the same things that you're going through. So that's why, like, almost 14 months later, like, I'm still in my early recovery group, is because these girls struggle
Our
with
friends, too.
exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. They struggle with exactly what I struggle with. Like,
So just like having the community
yeah.
and just
Community
like,
is huge.
if you could tell your past self one thing, what would it be?
Put it down, Lauren. I would tell her a lot of things. I would tell her your worth is not defined by how someone else treats you. It's by how you treat yourself.
I love that.
That was
I think
really
that's
good.
huge. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. And I think that kind of goes for both
Yeah.
addictions.
Yeah, because like when I was thinking about that, I was thinking about, well, the very first boyfriend that I had cheated on me. The next one cheated on me. The next one I cheated on me. So I had this like long string of me not being good enough. or
Right, and
feeling
you're
worthy or
below the
anything.
last, like someone's
Yeah.
better than you.
Like, what's wrong with me that you had to do this to me? And
Right, that's exactly what I was saying. Like we take these
Yeah.
things on ourselves and we're like, oh, it's my fault.
Yes.
And it's not. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So, love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't love yourself, then figure out, what you don't love and work on it, or, take the steps to better yourself, because it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about me. Like,
Right.
It just matters like what I think about myself.
now, other people are going to screw up, so don't take their mistakes as yours and as your faults, I think.
Yeah, you are 100% correct. That's like one of the worst things that you could do. You know that.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that you like wanted that we didn't touch on?
I would just say if you are struggling right now and you are thinking about dipping your toes into sobriety, or you
You don't know what way to go.
you don't know what to do, or you heard us talking and you're like, oh wow, somebody might understand me, like I'm not alone in this. Like, don't be afraid to speak up and talk to people about the things that are uncomfortable, and don't be afraid about recovery, because I really didn't start living my life until I started to go through recovery, and it's the most beautiful thing that I could have ever asked for. And it really,
You would have never known.
yeah, I would have never known.
Right, but I mean, if you didn't do it, you would have never
Yeah.
known that this was waiting.
Yeah. Now life goes by so fast, but before it just went by so slow because I was like dreading
Just like every day.
everything.
Yeah,
The way that you feel about your mental health, like that is a priority.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for answering all the hard things.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you're so open about it too. So even having these hard conversations, like it didn't feel awkward. It didn't feel hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't. It's just, it is scary to talk about those things, and it does make you vulnerable, but
And I also don't think anybody listening is judging.
Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes when we say those things, we're just like, what are they thinking though?
oh my
Do you know
God,
what I
I know.
mean?
You're like 10 shots, and I was like, I shouldn't tell her it was 20. No. Kidding.
Yeah, but I mean, at least you know me.
Yeah, I know, that's true.
You're like, Britt, you definitely took 10 shots in college.
I know. I mean, thank you for being vulnerable too.
Yeah.
Like, it's not easy to talk about. And it's nice knowing that, like, I'm not the only one that struggled with that,
Just talk about it. It's just, we're all people.
Yeah. Yeah. Normalize just talking about the hard things.
Yeah. I have tagged all of Lauren's social information in the show notes, and also some resources if you or someone you love is struggling with substance abuse, eating disorders, or mental health. I hope this episode educated you guys on how we can make these conversations less uncomfortable and less shameful, because this is something that is so common right now. If you like this episode, please like, subscribe, and share with someone that you know. Thanks for listening. I hope this warmed you up a little bit and gave you something to stew on, and we'll see you next week on Might Get Loud.